Hello everyone. Fatty from Pack a Punch Traders here. Gonna go over my trades on the day as well as the top plays for tomorrow. So we got BBAI. This was an overnight play. It was a gamble. I was looking for a continuation. SOUN after hours, similar sector, same sector. This one had a nice push. Thought BBAI would follow suit, but it didn't. I think it was a decent gamble. I recognize what was against it and adjusted by taking such small size. In total, lost about $25. Nothing crazy. Um, so not too worried there. But then there was a beautiful multi-day bounce right out of the watch list, and talked about it yesterday, going over the hold around two and how this was something similar to like an inverted candle or inverted hammer. Just didn't have that big bottom wick, but was still showing that momentum where you get that huge run up, aggressive pullback, not much volume behind it, and it keeps holding a whole dollar, half dollar area, and that leads to a possible multi-day bounce. And today we got that. It was a pretty choppy morning for it on GSUN. Remind me just of Lucy from yesterday, so we'll go over that one as well. Um, yeah, so as you can see here, kept heading lower and lower, having a hard time holding above VWAP, holding up new highs and up trending and making higher lows. Once I zoom in, once it's slow, it's a little slow right now, but I'll also talk about it. So we got it had a quick little perk over the high it set in the morning, and it wasn't anything significant. It was just a fake out pretty much. Here we go, finally. So let's zoom in here. And I was just slowly adding, just until each time it was showing what I wanted it to do, I just added a bit more. So there was that high at the open that it set, 215. I was getting it at 216 on the break, but no serious volume yet. That's why I went small size, just to get confirmation. Was nothing serious at first, and that was really what was giving us such a hard time. As you can see, when the demand really started picking up and it chose the direction it wanted to go in, that's when the move really got clean and it just ramped up. But I had to be a little patient for the setup here. Added another 500 shares at 218 as it made a higher low and reclaimed VWAP. And there it started looking pretty good. A little bit of perk in demand, a push higher, and everything was looking nice. Was thinking we could hold the VWAP and push higher, but ended up breaking below it. And at that point, I was a little frustrated, but still had to acknowledge it was still making a higher low. I know it is kind of messy. It pushed all the way to 240, and it comes right back to where it started in the low twos, around 215 here. But it is still a higher low. And then when it comes back to VWAP, at that point I'm seeing this just continually pushing higher, and that was very similar to Lucy from yesterday. Where we at? As you can see here, choppy morning. Still figuring out which direction it wants to head into. Broke below VWAP. Was not looking great for a moment, but what did it do? Continue to hold up and not push to new lows. And that's what we're really looking for. The failure to push to new lows, showing shorts don't have the upper hand, sellers don't have that, and that leads to some dip buyers as well as shorts locking in profits, and that's the whole setup. I always talk about it. It's my favorite pattern, and this one's set up beautifully. And another takeaway from this, it didn't quite get to 150%. This one was about 135, so just below, and still worked out nicely. So just something to keep in mind, because I do sometimes look at multi-day bounces when they haven't quite gotten there. So nice to see it still work out. And at this point, done with the play. As you can see, as we always talk about, once those shorts are out, once that fuel is gone. There's nowhere left for this to go. There's no buying pressure propping this up, leading for a possible another squeeze higher. So GSUN, fantastic move. Took it 1,500 shares, 220 to round down, and dumped it at 254. And as you can see, as we always talk about as well, on average, this pattern offers a 30% spike, and in this case, just blew right through it. So I sold in preparation for that, as well as I didn't want to be too greedy. So I took about 15% on this move. Not bad at all. Left a lot on the table, but it's all right. Just let the singles add up. I've gone for home runs before, and that mentality really resulted in inconsistent results. So once we're getting about 10, 15, for sure around 20, I'm getting antsy, ready to sell. And that was it for the day. I saw some other things possibly setting up. VINO was another setup for a multi-day bounce, but this one did not have the volume really. It didn't fail. It still kept making higher lows on the day, but it still had a hard time reversing. So hopefully tomorrow we get a nice rip out of this, a bottom around the low twos here. Similar thinking with GSUN, where held two, hold $1 half-dollar area, coming off of the fade, just looking for the reversal. Just all the opposite indicators that we're seeing now. This is just downtrending, pushing to new lows, and then now it starts reversing slowly. This is just a bottoming day, it looks like. So we'll see how it sets up for tomorrow. But same thinking as GSUN, LUCY, recently OTRK, GROM. Pretty sure I'm missing a couple, but those are some multi-day bounces within the past 2 weeks or so to reference, look at for lessons if you want to go back to them. But yeah, so VINO is going to be a top watch for tomorrow. Looking for that multi-day bounce. Let's go over the day in general. So market not bad, still holding up. I really just missed everything, if we're being honest. VS was the only other possible play that I did ignore. I was just sticking to what I saw was moving, and GSUN and VINO were top plays in the morning for me. So I just focused my attention there and missed a couple of these moves. This one here, multi-day. Oh, wait. Jesus. Because this one also is similar here. Multi-day bounce style pattern, but didn't give this attention. I really don't know why, if we're being completely honest. Unless there was bad news, which is why I took it off. Let's take a look here. Looks like there was an offering, and that's why I took it off. All right. So this one ended up pushing here after hours and retreated a lot pre-market. Was considering this for an open price VWAP per claim, which ended up working out, but not too mad that I missed this. Kind of a choppy play. Not really anything I wanted to be a part of, because even if it was a multi-day bounce, this already had the move after hours. It just squeezed out. And as we can see, that is a key area in the mid ones. So missed out on that play, but something to learn from, because I usually ignore the multi-day bounces when they have bad news. So nice to see in this case it did work out, but still pretty choppy. Not for me. It's just this after hours move that was pretty strong. There was also KPRX. This is one that I completely missed out on, but also not an ideal play. Like if we're gonna play it for an open price VWAP per claim, this is a fake out. The only thing this thing had going for it was it had a breakout around 5, as we can see here. Lower float, had some news, was looking pretty good. Besides, it just having one and dones here. So you can argue that it held 5 pretty well, and that could be a possible entry. Yes, but at the same time, I I prefer just playing it safe. So I did have this on radar, but by the time I went back to peek at it, it was up and spiking. So missed this play, but at the same time, I'm glad I did. I would have just been lucky to make 5% if I would have got out on this slam down. Um, yeah, so it just never really set up properly. I just saw conflicting factors. We had the breakout, sure. We had this weak volume here after a push lower. Fantastic. Okay. Low flow, news, decent pattern. But until it reclaims open price and VWAP, I'm thinking momentum is likely going to head lower. So could have been a decent dip buying opportunity, but in my eyes, pretty risky in this situation, as the levels were just not totally aligned, and I just saw there being a solid top here in the mid fives, so I really wanted it to come back for open price in the mid fives to confirm that area and make a higher low, confirming the low fives as support where the breakout is, and then reclaiming the key areas, making higher lows, leading a squeeze higher. But instead, it just got this solid move and decent volume, nothing spectacular, but yeah, that is that. For a move like that went 15% in a very short period of time, I would just expect there to be more volume. But yeah, that's that. So let's just get on to tomorrow's top plays. Already went over VINO, multi-day bounce on this thing, bottoming day today. And then we got a lot of multi-day bounces. Had some recent runs, AI plays taken off. So now all these we're just looking for failure to push lower and the momentum shift. They're not all gonna do him. We're just gonna just focus on the one that is showing the best indication of a possible momentum shift. But these are the ones that I think have in total best odds. But tomorrow I expect one, maybe two of them to do it if we get lucky. So we got SECO as well. This one came out with AI news, I believe, yesterday. Low float, incredible push, and now decently off the highs. Solid little bounce today, but still very choppy. Having a hard time pushing higher, and still looks like it's got conflicting opinions in this thing. So we'll wait for a confirmation of a bottom and looking for that high day break with a perk in demand to lead the way for a multi-day bounce. Then we got BBBY, monster move from yesterday, which had, I forgot what the news was, but ended up getting slammed here and got close to what do you call it? 150%, just about 133, 135, similar to GSUN. So let's see if this holds around a whole half dollar area of 3. That's been a key level the past couple of days. So this could also be a nice opportunity. What did it close at? 301. So yeah, looking for this thing to possibly get back into the low fours, that average 30% spike. It does have some resistance here in the high threes, so might be a good area to consider selling into as well, where there is going to be some resistance. And then we got SOUN and GFAI, AI plays that have just been taken off and now cooling off. Looking for failure to push lower. Some of these do need to push lower, but they have had a first red day, and that is what keeps them or gets them on radar for a bounce play. We want to see sellers in control. Want to see them up on their position so they can lock it in later on when you have that broken expectation of further pushing lower. Lastly, IVDA. This one was a good call yesterday. Had a nice breakout from the 150 area. I believe that was the breakout. I was thinking it could test 180. It was out of the watch list. Ended up getting past that into the low twos. And here we are, lower float, lower market cap, solid uptrend. Getting a bit exhausted here, but at the same time, I'm acknowledging it has a breakout level on the multi-month chart as well as the multi-day, so time frames rather. And after that, we really don't have resistance until the low threes. So it does have some range. It's got the float. If demand can just sustain, if it can come back to what it was yesterday, ideally even more than that, confirms the low twos as support, we can get a nice push to the high twos, three-ish region. So only one that's on a top watch that isn't a bounce play. So we'll see how this shapes up. We'll have some gappers tomorrow, and as usual with those, we're looking for them to fail to break down, reclaim key prices, typically VWAP and open price. Sometimes I'll play the pre-market high. But yeah, just looking for a light stuff in the morning, showing that sellers are having a hard time pushing it lower. After a gap up, you got a conflicting opinions between the sellers, short sellers, and buyers, what they're thinking can happen. So just looking for the further strength when it fails to break down after some consolidation and reclaim of key prices, which shorts should be covering their position in when they're wrong, as well as that'll bring in more buyers, and that will give us a nice move. Who knows if we get that, if there's any solid gappers. I'm really excited for some of the multi-day bounce plays, so my attention is really going to be focused there. Just my bread and butter. Just what I know best. If I miss anything else, oh well. But yeah, we'll just wrap it up. Hope everyone had a great day. Captured any of the plays on watch. GSUN was a fantastic mover. Was talking about it yesterday. Hope you guys learned something, made some money, and yeah, we'll just catch you all later. I'll be live tomorrow morning on Tradecaster. I was not on this morning. Had really iffy internet. Was going back and forth. It'd be connected for a moment, and then it wouldn't. I had enough service to watch the market, but to stream it was just too weak. So hopefully that is different tomorrow.